What does it say? It says Wisdom Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. And who could better do Wisdom Wednesday but this gentleman? Hails out of Houston, Texas. He's an entrepreneur. His favorite book is Bible, stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. He's also does a great job of trade. Last week, I love how he took every character out of that book and related it to our business. That to me was so powerful. And I tell you what, last Wednesday blessed my socks off. So this is the last Wednesday of November, which means this is the last time I'll be with us this month of November. So let's give a warm welcome to the one and only, the man of great wisdom, Mr. Dwight Williams out of Houston, Texas.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Mr. Thomas. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, sir.
Well, happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody. I hope everybody, unlike me, is ready for this turkey day that we got coming up, because I'm not ready. I'm getting ready. And I'm in the process of preparing, cooking and doing all that stuff. Matter of fact, that's the fun part for me. I enjoy doing that. I love the family getting together and doing that. And then we're going to hop on the road and we're going to spend this holiday with my wife's family. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to get together with family. I hope everybody is doing some version of that. Holiday, no holiday, whatever. But always I used to have a pastor who would always say family does matter. And I love that. Mr. Thomas, man, the fact that you're on here on a holiday weekend and week, and you doing all of this stuff, and your energy level is at the level that it is, boy, let me tell you, you like a 25-year-old right now. You like a kid in a candy store. You have more fun than the law allows you, than you deserve. And so I love it. I'm excited too. I love that. A lot of people say this. I love all the times of the year. And so I loosely say I love this time of the year, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I love the spring, summer, winter, and fall. I love them all. Now, winter, I would say, is probably on the bottom of the list, but I still love it, but it's just on the bottom. I'm not a cold weather person. But today, I am glad to be with you guys. And I always say this to Mr. Thomas, you have any number of leaders in their own right on this call right now that can do this and are amazing people. And so I want you to know the privilege and the honor that it is that you choose me to speak here, because you didn't have to. You just at the top of the list. I mean, I would be on the call. I need to be on the call with a pad taking notes with you talking instead of me talking. So but I consider it a blessing to be here, and I'm thankful for being. And I thank every single person on the call today that you took out of your time to come listen to me. And so, with that said, let's go ahead and let's jump in. Today, I'm gonna talk about something, and I just had this conversation on yesterday, and so I'm gonna let you in on some things that most people don't really know about me. Over the last several years, I partnered with a partner of mine in '03, and he and I were talking, and I tell you, leaders always talk about the great times in their career, but I like to actually talk about all the times in my career. And right now, I find myself in one of the most challenging moments in my career. You got to imagine, 19-year-old kid, things blow up, and it's the grace of God that causes these things to happen in my life, and I'm very thankful and grateful for those things to happen. But I find myself right now in one of the most challenging moments in my career, where there's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm rebuilding. I'm reinventing, and in doing that, and so Mr. Thomas knows this, but anybody knows it. ACN is the first network marketing company that I ever have done, and he's always known that. That's why he took the time to really kind of invest in a dummy like me, because he probably realized this kid right here is clueless. He don't know what he's doing. Don't get me wrong, probably a businessman in his own right, but when it comes to this over here, he don't know what he's doing. So he took me on his wings, and I thank him for doing that. But this reinvention has been really challenging. My partner and I were sitting and we were talking yesterday. We do that on a regular basis. And he and I always make a statement to ourselves. He said, and I said, he says it to me, but I said it to him on yesterday. I said, T, no matter what we say or what we do, the one thing about you and I that I think is the key ingredient to success is that we never quit. We never, ever quit. We have been hit with obstacle after obstacle. Have you ever, and Mr. Thomas, I know you're probably familiar with this. Have you ever been in a place in life, career, whatever, where you try stuff, one thing after another thing, and nothing actually, and everything, you get right up to the point where you think it's about to happen, falls apart. You start something else because you know, in the beginning, it's easy. Your energy's still high. You're really motivated and you're into it and you're feeling it. So you, that's nothing. I'm on to the next one. But get down the road to the 7th time or the 8th time, you get hit like that. And it becomes really challenging for you. And so he and I were sitting and we were talking. We've tried any number of things, one opportunity after another. And he like me, we had several successes. And so we decided to reinvent in the last several years. And that process of reinventing has been very, very challenging. But the point I made to him on yesterday is, you know, Thomas Edison says, I didn't find 10,000 ways. I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just simply found 10,000 ways not to do it. And so what that means is I just need to simply document everything that I did those 10,000 times to make sure that I just don't do them again. That's why taking notes and documenting everything and having journals is so important. Why? Because it documents the journey in such a way that it helps you take record of each thing you do. So you document both the things that didn't work as well as the things that do. And then you start to build on it. It says, okay, but if we don't write stuff down and if we don't document things, what ends up happening is we start to repeat things because we forget we've already done this. And the first time I did it, it didn't work. But because I don't have a log or I don't have record of those things, I'm not able to build on that. And that's what this is. And so I'm gonna insert right here. This is why when our uplines and leaders say the system, save yourself time, energy, and money, that's what they mean. This is a time-proven set of things that we have already gone through the proof process over 50 more years. So we've already done it. Don't go reinvent it. Just be coachable and let us help you master it. That'll save you. That's why that system thing, that acronym for system is really accurate. Save yourself time, energy, and money. So he and I we're really challenged with we follow the system with ACN, and that's how we were able to reach the levels that we had at the pace that we had. We should have done it faster than that, if you ask Mr. Thomas. I'm telling you guys, he's over there and he said all this good stuff, but if I got him on the phone one-on-one and said, hey, Mr. Thomas, I think I did pretty good, he'll be like, you think so? So and when he and I began to talk, we began to talk about what is success. And I think the process of time and never quitting, I think what happens is our visions change. Because when we start the journey, we don't actually have a clear vision of our destination, but we have an idea of the direction we need to be moving. We don't always see. Some people do. My daughter, I think my daughter was born knowing what she was going to want to do. That now, her dad, on the other hand, I still haven't figured it out. So I'm still trying to get that answer done. But the truth be told, I think over time we refine our vision as we gain more insight into who we are and what we want to become. He and I were talking about all of the things that, and you begin to rehearse all of the obstacles that you have overcome, which is why Miss Ismail's quote a few weeks ago, I've never forgotten that quote. I have that quote written down. Matter of fact, if you notice, I've re-quoted that in the last, I think my last two Wednesdays, that overcoming is becoming. That is a phenomenal statement to me, because it is a truth. Overcoming is becoming. The challenge is never quitting, is when we stop overcoming, is when we stop becoming. And that's the challenge for us, is that, and so we begin to interject. For example, I hear the story of Roger Bannister all the time, the 4-Minute Mile. I love that story because it's the story of achievement, okay? But, and Roger Bannister did that in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. He broke it, 3 minutes, 59 seconds and 4 milliseconds or whatever. But do you know that record has been broken 18 times since? The last one in 1999, it's 3 minutes, 53 seconds, I think, and 4 milliseconds. So it's been broken 18 more times, which tells you that records are set only to be broken. A record is set to be broken. So if you think about it, if you look at the successes of our past, they're only seeds to our future. The things we achieve and accomplish in the past, they're just the seeds. They're just like planting seeds to the things that we're going to do in the future. That's why we can never become satisfied with where we are. We can never be satisfied with where we find ourselves right now. Because why? Because think about it. Every day I should be advancing. I should be advancing every single. Think about the Olympics, guys. Think about the Olympics. Notice I said 3 minutes and 59 seconds, 59.4 seconds, okay? Then I said the other guy broke it in 3 minutes, no, 50, yeah. The other guy broke it in 3 minutes, 53.9 or 53.4 seconds, okay? Y'all remember that, okay? Remember that. Notice everything about the Olympics is about measuring to precision, down to the fraction of a second, because it counts, because that horse may win by a nose. that person may win by the difference between one guy and the next guy may be a fraction of a millisecond. And so we have to track at that level. The question I have for you, what do you track about your business? And I believe, this is me, the Olympics is, if you think about the history of the Olympics from Greek mythology, the Olympic became a way for various people to express their achievement. On a global scale, it is the way countries set themselves apart. It's really political. If you pay attention to the geopolitical nature of the Olympics, these countries, it's not from a country standpoint, it ain't about the athletes. It's about that country saying, hey, you better get out there, you better win. Why? Because China got to be #1 this time. No. The US is going to be #1. So you guys better not miss another basketball hoop. And so it is because why? America is the #1 basketball country. Ain't no other country because that's who we are until we start getting beat. So it becomes a situation of pride. They take it very personal because it defines us. Our accomplishments and the things, they define who we are, because overcoming is becoming. So measuring with, so they measure with speed, they measure strength. In basketball, we measure the number of MVPs or scoring championships. And this is how we measure them. And of course, rings and ratio. I mean, rings and trophies. We love to put those things on the shelves. We love to sit those, I love to display your display case. And I was watching the King Richard, the show about the Williams sisters' dad, Serena and Venus. And they were saying that she went into the I forget what they call them, and she competed in the, I don't know, the nationals or what they call it. She got 57 trophies. She was undefeated. She had never played. She hits that circuit and she beats everybody she competes about. And she's got, so they ran out of places to put trophies. And so, but measuring our success is crucial. How we measure how our accomplishments and our achievements is very, very important. And we have to do that. And as I move forward, I'm going to talk about this. Now, I want to talk about how we never quit, because in our conversation, my partner, one of the things that I mentioned to him is I said, man, some of the times I talk to people and they start to talk about the mentors. And they said, this mentor said this, and I got this mentor over here. And I started to think, if you go back to my original statement, records are set only to be broken. And so when I've always thought this, and not out of any disrespect, but you heard me say a week or two ago, I only compete with myself. Had Michael Jordan competed with anybody else on the court, he'd never been the greatest. See, the only way to truly be the GOAT is to compete with who you believe is the greatest. That's yourself. And if you never quit, if you're always trying to be the greatest and you compete with yourself, once you do become the greatest, there's only one person left to compete with. That's you. So I start out the gate competing with myself every day. What am I going to get done that I didn't get done yesterday? How am I going to become better today than I was yesterday? And I understand that the only way, the major way for me to become better is what information do I have? How do I get information? From books. Did you know the number one way to get information is from a trusted advisor, a mentor? It's the number one way. It's the fast. Why? Because that person can accelerate your path. And notice the word I use, trust. Trust, I said this before, speeds everything up. When I don't trust somebody, it slows everything down because I got to be checking to make sure that what they said is right. But when we have trust, I don't think about it. This is why when they say, hey, are you coachable? Do you trust me enough not to second guess everything I'm going to tell you? If I tell you, just do it. That accelerates. Once I have trust, it accelerates my process. Now, many of us say, well, I kind of think I do that. Well, no, let's be honest. Let's tell the truth. If I don't do it, then I don't trust. If I tell my kids, hey, son, do this because I already did it. I used to tell my son all the time, son, it's like me and him would be going back and forth. He'd be going back and forth with me. And I would say, pause, son, this conversation is like me going around that curve right there and knowing that the road is washed out. And I've survived it. Came back to tell you don't go, because if you go, you're gonna run off the curve like me. But the problem is I survived it, you may not. And so everybody may not survive running off that cliff. So one of the things that may protect you is do you trust me? I do. Really, you really do. I do trust you. Okay, so if you do trust me, let me save you from this. That's why they say, are you coachable? That's why we ask that question to people when they start. What are your goals? Do you trust me to help you reach that goal? Do you believe that the vehicle that I'm about to put you in can get you to that goal? I do. Now, is this your goal? Yes, this is my goal. So let's write your goal down. You believe I can help you get to your goal. I do believe you can help. These are the 5 things I need you to do before this day is out. Can you get that done? I don't know. So you don't believe I can get you there. Well, I do. No. If you did, you'd believe that I would never ask you to do something that I didn't believe you could do in the next 24 hours. Yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I wouldn't believe that could be done in the next 24 hours. That is true. So let me ask you this question once again. Are you coachable, and are you willing to do what I ask you to do? I am. You trust me? I do. then what's stopping you from doing what I'm telling you to do? See, because it is a logical progression for achieving the things we achieve, and they speed things up. Trust speeds everything up, and it accelerates. And so mentors are great. Mentors and trusted advisors, they accelerate your pace. But what I've discovered in conversations with individuals, they begin to make mentors the roof that they live under. Mentors are not the roof you live under. They're the foundation that you build upon. Does that make sense? We don't. And so I find people, their mentors become their lids. But remember, go back to what I said earlier. Records are only set to be broken. So if that mentor achieved what he achieved in the time, then his job is to help ensure that I achieve at the next magnitude. Why? Because I'm going to set the next foundation for the next group. Why? Because past success becomes the seed for our future. So all of the mentors that exist today that are telling the stories, these stories are the seeds for the stories that we will tell for future generations. We got to understand that. So so who should you compete with? The only person to compete with is you. How do you compete with you? Is by pushing yourself every single day. Mr. Thomas says this at the end of every call: do something to move your business forward today. You need to do that every day. So I'm gonna ask you this question. just hanging there with me for a minute. Just hanging there. I'm gonna be the mouthpiece for Mr. Thomas, because I'm gonna have the same conversation that the craziest thing. We'd be at the international. Mr. Thomas would say, "Hey, you're gonna meet us over in the lobby at such and such." Yeah, we're gonna meet. You sit down with Mr. Thomas. So how's your business? And I already knew, right? Because I've been an entrepreneur for a long, and so when you're being set up, when you're being set up. So where this process is going. You talking about, you thinking to yourself, I shouldn't have sat down in this chair. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have sat down right here. So how's your business? And he begins to ask you a series of things. How many people you got at the conference this time? How many people did you have at the last one? So, and hopefully that number, this one is greater than the last one by magnitude. Because if it's not, his next question is, what do you think happened? What do you think you did wrong? What do you think you didn't do? And it's the right thing to do. This is what trusted advisors do. But we should measure everything. Huh? So let me ask you a question. Let's deal with some measurements as entrepreneurs, because let me tell you something. The Amazons and the corporations that we talk about, they measure everything. Amazon is so meticulous with measuring. Amazon, you don't need a time card in an Amazon warehouse. They track you by your phone. And so they know when you're at your workstation and when you're not. They track as much time every second. They know exactly where you're at all times. They know when you're working, and they know when you're not, when you're on a break. And so they track down to the second what you are, to the minute what you're doing. So we have to begin to become business owners that way. So now let's talk about the things that we've talked about. Never quit. How do I never quit? Most people think never quitting means to just stop. No. Never quitting means to not stop. But what is stop? Stop learning. Stop getting better. Stop improving. Stop making my numbers better. So the truth be told, have I not quit? Watch this. If I invited 5 people on Monday, I invited 5 people on Tuesday, I invited 3 people on Wednesday, I invited 2 people on Thursday, and nobody on Friday. Am I still progressing, or have I quit? I'm just saying, what is the definition of quitting? And see, that's what I want to be very particular about what quitting is. Quitting is remember, I told you the only person to compete with is who? Self. What is quitting? It's not progressing. So have I quit if my numbers are not increasing? See, the conversation gets tricky when you really begin to think about how this stuff, because think about it. It's like a guy saying, hey man, Roger Bannister said it couldn't be done. So, hey, I ran it in the exact same time Roger did. I'm good with that. And I'm sure some people did that. Let me ask you a question. Do any of you know their names? Nobody know their names. The only name that's known is the guy who breaks the record. That's the only name. So Roger Bannister broke the record. The other guys that hit his same record, history will never record their names. It is so if you're competing and the person to compete with is yourself, then the only time for you to even be thinking about anything is when you tearing 5 into 10, 10 into 20, 20 into 25, 20 into 25 into 30, 30 into 50. And not because your mentor, Mr. Thomas, told you to. But Mr. Thomas, no disrespect, but who's to say Mr. Thomas will set the right goal for who you are? Mr. Thomas is going to give you the information that he has. But you may have a gift in you that none of us have ever seen. Think about it. There may be a gift that's new that we've never seen that you got in you. So although Mr. Thomas sets your foundation, you may need to set your new roof. Does that make sense? So, and nobody else, no mentor, no advisor, no anybody can do that for you but you. Nobody can build on that. So Michael Jordan, he's the GOAT. You know why? Because he didn't compete with anybody else but himself. Why does a man break a record? Because he believes he can. And he believes that record can be broken. And so he goes out and he breaks that record. He doesn't sit back and say, hey man, that's the record. That guy right there broke the record, and spends all his time. I drew a chart a while back of a basketball court with LeBron James dunking. And I showed 4 people. There are people who watch things happen. There are people who are around things that happen. There are people who wonder what just happened. And then there are people who make things happen. The question is, which one are you going to be? Because the truth be told, the fact that you have been invited to this call today means something in all of creation. The fact that you're at this time connected to Mr. Thomas and this group of people, this community of individuals, there's a reason, there's a purpose behind that. The fact that you find yourself doing what you're doing and pursuing the place that you are, purpose behind it. These are the things that my partner and I talked about. The fact that we find ourselves here, I don't care what's going on. I'm never fearful of where I'm at. I never care about the circumstances that I find myself under. Doesn't matter how bad they are. Because faith says, if I believe that everything that happens to me is happening for my good. So if I believe that that's true, everything that's happening to me, it is all in how I perceive it. And if I perceive it as if I allow fear to cause me to doubt what's happening to me is not happening for my good, then of course it's going to cause me to act that way. But if I believe that no matter what's happening is for it means my well, then I will process it that way. It will cause me to have a certain set of steps and a certain posture, and it will always produce success. That's why I say, what is success? Success is simply me never quitting. It is me never quitting. But you lost everything. It's immaterial. It's working together for my good. There's something I'm supposed to learn from this. But I lost one of my leaders. That's fine. then something about your system is causing leaders not to want to stay. Just gotta go figure out what that is. But I don't have enough money. Okay, then you need to work harder. But I'm not attracting the right people. Then you need to become more attractive. So, you can give me this excuses every day. I told somebody, you can give me excuses every day, but if one guy, why is network marketing so attractive to a guy like me? If one guy can achieve what this guy has achieved, then anybody can do it. That's what I want to do. I'm telling you, this cat is living free, checks showing up on a weekly basis. Hey, I'm in. Why? I did all the other stuff. I went to work every day and worked 8 to 5. I did all of that. I even owned businesses and had to deal with employees and suing me and doing all of that. I said, hey, that may not be the one for me. I've even had businesses where I was silent in those businesses, but I still had the structure that took years to get there. This guy has been doing this for 20, 30 years, and he's been free most of them. I know where I want to be. Door number 1, Alex. it's where I'm telling you right now, I've made my decision. And this industry is the greatest industry I've ever seen. Never seen anything like it. Where people work together, man. Teams, people get together. And there's no big I's and little U's, but it's whoever works the hardest. I love that. You gotta love that. And to be connected to individuals like yourselves, like Mr. Thomas, like Miss Ismail, Mr. Lewis, and Miss Driscoll, and all of you. Every single one, Mr. Foster, killing the game over there. He's having all the fun in the world. And I love that energy. Think about it, guys. How many of you have ever been connected to a group of negative people? Or any number of negative people? Think about being able to come to a place. Mr. Thomas like, hey, that was a long time ago. I haven't done that in a long time. Law of attraction says I repel those people because of the person that I have become. And absolutely, you're absolutely right. And so it is like Les Brown, it is a plum pleasing privilege for us to come together as a community. I'm telling you, it really is. I'm about to close, but I'm gonna close with a poem I'm gonna read you. And this conversation came from my partner and I we were sitting in a truck yesterday, just reminiscing and concluding that I believe the key to success is to never quit. That's one key. The other key is compete with yourself. Most people say, Dwight, it takes time. No, it doesn't. It takes as much time as you take to develop yourself. How fast can you make it go? How fast do you want it? I want it fast. Then you need to develop fast. Well, what does that mean? Hey, Mr. Thomas, where you at? Think about it, guys. It's the craziest thing to me. I'm a really basic, I'm not a smart guy. I just do simple stuff. I want to become a master networker. Well, whenever I go to the international, who you think I'm gonna, Mr. Thomas, he ain't never got to pay for nothing. I just want to hang out with you. And I don't even need to ask you a bunch of questions. I just want to hang out. Why? Because just hanging around is how you learn. Mannerisms and just posture and behaviors is how you learn these things. So let me read this real quick. This poem was written by, and I don't know, you may have heard it, Edgar Albert Guest. Anybody heard this poem before? It Couldn't Be Done is the title. And it says, somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start in to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. And with that, Mr. Thomas, I will turn it back over to you.